of the game as a whole, Liam? You were sat just down there.
Yeah. Do you know what? At half-time, I was thinking you can't, and especially at full-time as well, you can't fault the effort from the boys today. I mean, even De Bruyne at the end there, clearing off the line. I mean, right till the end, trying for every second ball, everything they could do. I mean, I think we're kind of blessed now as City fans in the sense that it hurts even more when we even, thinking at full time to be 1-1, I was feeling like this almost feels like a loss now. But that's kind of the blessed position we're in now with how much success we've had. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think you can't fault the players at all. Brentford was so clinical today. I mean, Tony was class. He was a nuisance, like you boys were saying before. He sent a message to Southgate there. Gutted, but I'm gutted for the players more than anything because they left it all out there and just come up short.
Yeah, I mean, Shay, I wondered how much do you attribute the loss to kind of Brentford being that good, or that City just weren't quite at their free-flowing best?
Possibly a bit of both, really. I think you've got to give credit to Thomas Frank and his team, how they set up today. I mean, second half there was a lot of pressure on the Brentford goal, but the City were quite narrow, I think, in their attack. Me and Paul were kind of screaming up here in the box, if Phil can be a bit wider, and maybe even John Stones, even just stand wide to try and stretch their fullbacks to create more spaces in the little pockets, and it was just frustrating to watch, because again, that's a great game plan from Brentford, but just from a City point of view, maybe it was just one game too many. They've played so many games every 3 days in the last 3 or 4 weeks. They've had a game, Champions League, League Cup, Premier League. Yeah. It's been crammed in, and it just looked, as you say, maybe just a yard of spark wasn't there maybe today.
In the second half, I think it was. Yeah.
I mean, Paul, it's funny, isn't it? Because the standards that team have set and that manager have set are now, the highest they've ever been in the club's history. We do forget. I think Shay makes a great point that it's so taxing the schedule anyway, let alone given when we've thrown a World Cup into the middle of it.
It is, and I think we're so lucky to be able to sit here and watch the football that these guys play, and whenever. If they're only 0.5%, 1% off it, we're used to them being at the very, very best all the time. And sometimes when you get beat or you draw a game, it's easy to look at the team and be critical of different things. I think you've got to give a huge amount of credit to Brentford today. I thought they were outstanding. Liam touched Ivan Toney. I thought he was the best player on the pitch by a country mile. Yeah. And sometimes you've got to be a bit humble about it and say that they came here and probably don't know about deserve to win, but I think they deserve to get a point.
Yeah. Yes.
And sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and give them the credit for that. But look, every time this team gets a setback or has a draw or gets a defeat, they come back and they go and win 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row. They've got a little break now, and I've no doubt that'll happen again after Christmas.
That's the only frustrating thing, is the break now.
Yeah.
Because when you have a bad result, you want to 3 or 4 days later play again and put it right, because these players and these fans as well will be sitting in that now, obviously watching the World Cup, they'll enjoy that, but at the same time thinking, we messed up again. It's a long 6 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of giving credit to Brentford, I want to give credit as well. You can probably hear them. The away fans today, you can see them in the back of shop.
Yeah.
It was an incredible turnout from them, and they're in fine voice there, and rightly so with the win. It is tough. I mean, we'll go into some of the few key moments, but one player I did want to highlight, I think we'll come to Edison in a sec with Shay, but there was a clearance by Laporte coming across the box that I felt was as good as a goal.
Yeah. I think I was watching with my brother. I said to my brother, I mean, I'm not sure how many touches Brentford actually had in our area today, but they were so clinical. And Laporte, I mean, I thought it had gone in. I don't know how he managed to get it away from goal and away from the Brentford attacker. Like you say, that was as good as a goal. And then again, De Bruyne's clearance at the end there. I mean, that was Tony's hat-trick, wasn't it? So, I mean, we've come out losing 2-1. I think on another day, obviously, we can win that by a big margin, but we could have probably lost that by a big margin at the end as well.
Yeah, great point. I mean, Edison as well. I mean, you singled him out at half-time, Shay as well, but, again, he'll be...
And again, he made another, I think, 1v1 block in the second half as well. Yes. 2 brilliant saves at the start of the very start of the game. And again, disappointed with the winning goal. Had absolutely no chances. If you want to be, look at the goal that day, not from a City head on, but just how Brentford played, how they set up. Their game plan literally worked to a T.
Yeah.
We'll look at the possession stats, passes completed, and City will be way ahead of all that stuff. But as Liam rightly says, when they broke, you see the numbers they broke and then the speed they broke, and they were sort of setting traps. They were really deep in a low block. but there's such pace on the break. It was very difficult to defend against.
We also were trying to get our goal, and I can't really think, Paul, of too many clear-cut chances. And one of the things I think Frank had mentioned beforehand, when you've got someone like Haaland on the pitch who, usually you give him a sniff and he'll put the ball in the back, didn't really get a sniff. And Frank, I think, had set out a game plan to stop the source, which a lot of the time was De Bruyne. Do you think that worked, and maybe other teams might try and emulate that?
I think it did, and Brentford worked their socks off defensively. The three centre halves just defended the 6-yard box and defended the goal. The two wing backs a lot of the time were in the 18-yard box, and then the midfield players, the jobs they done were getting out wide. We did get it out wide to help the back five out. So you've got to say it worked to a certain extent. And you look at the amount of saves that David Raya has had to make. He's not really made, so that's probably the only thing you can be critical about. But I'm always super positive anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And every time this team gets a setback, they know how to bounce back from it. But Shay said before, it's just frustrating for everybody now that we've got this break coming up for the World Cup now, because you want to get back on track. But I'm sure the second half of the season we'll see this team go out and bang out 8 to 10 wins in a row and be right up there.
They've done that before, and we'll speak about the break in just a second. I just wondered, and this isn't me ever criticising the man that has brought the best football I've ever seen to the club, but our first substitution came at 85 minutes, and there was 10 minutes of added time. I open this up to you all. Is there a feeling maybe we'd like to have seen a little bit of a change a little bit earlier on to mix it up, given that it wasn't quite working, Liam? How are you feeling?
I can't say anything about that because I have absolutely no idea. Look, Pep, if you're listening, it's tough because just, from a completely non-football background, watching it, I kind of think that there have been times over the last few seasons where Pep's not afraid to make a change at half-time. He's not afraid to bring on two different players at half-time or after 60 minutes, after 85 minutes, like you say. So I'm kind of sat there watching, and I have complete faith in the guy. So I'm sat there watching, I'm thinking he obviously is watching this game and thinking the players out there can solve the problem. He's not thinking, he's not panicking and thinking, I need to change this person, that person, this person. Obviously, at the end, maybe he tried a little something different, but, he has complete confidence in the players and they have confidence in him. So, on another day, if the right ball manages to find the right player, maybe it goes through and they win, and you say, well done for keeping faith in the players. It's a difficult one.
Do you kind of agree?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one would be Grealish maybe coming off the bench and putting him on the left, putting Foden the other side perhaps. I know he took Cancelo off and Foden had to go in a left back position, which was maybe a strange one. Maybe he could have took Stones off perhaps and put Cancelo on the other side and kept him more offensive on that right side perhaps. But as Liam says, we're talking about Pep Guardiola. He is an absolute genius. So we're just talking could you change anything? Could you lose the game? You're always looking at an angle.
It's always hindsight.
You're always looking at an angle.
Because if he makes that change and then Foden goes and assists Haaland for the winner at 1-1, then we're all going, oh my God.
Again, you go back a week ago, we were here at Fulham and we were watching the Fulham game, and he kept faithful, as you mentioned, the players. And eventually they got the breakthrough and they got the penalty. De Bruyne had done brilliant for the penalty. So it's always like when you lose or you don't get the win, it's like you're trying to pick bones out of it, But the lads, at the end of the day, the lads will be disappointed, today, definitely.
It'll hurt that one, I think.
Yeah, massively. And I think hindsight's great. The amount of times the lads in the pitch that when he's not made substitutions, come back and win the game from being behind, and it's so obvious that he trusts the players that are on the pitch to go out there and do the job that he wants to do.
We have now got the World Cup break. I think we're going to be back at the first game for Manchester City. Will, of course, be that Carabao Cup tie. I'm not sure if the date's confirmed. It'll be just before then. We return to the Premier League action, 28th of December. How difficult is this break going to be for Manchester City? Now, we said we'd like a reaction, but could also there be a positive in it, or I'm not too sure?
I honestly don't think you can answer that question because it's something we've never had before in the middle of a season, So how are they going to react? At least when the World Cup's finished, we've got the Liverpool game, but then there's a little bit of break. So Pep and his staff are top class. The guys behind the scenes here, the sports science department, the physio department, they'll have plans in place for every single player about. So when we come back in Liverpool before Christmas and then we play Leeds afterwards, they'll be bang on ready to go for them.
There'll be some of them lower league teams, Shay, that obviously don't have as many international kind of call-ups, so they can probably have a bit of a break and get back to training. But then I guess for City it'll give chance. I mean, I'm looking outside here, young Rico Lewis, Cole Palmer and those players, maybe a holiday, and Pep said they're going to do a little bit of warm weather training, I think, possibly. So
I think it's just getting the balance right, as Paul says. I think we said before the game was 15 players or something away, so we're all different nationalities and different, at the World Cup and what have you. And And it's just like, when do they get knocked out? When do you bring them back into training? When do they meet up in Abu Dhabi? I think maybe to have the warm weather training, you know. So it's all that, as he mentions, the technical stuff, you know. But the bigger picture for me, the race for the Premier League is really on now. Arsenal, of course, played this evening, I think, at Wolves.
Yes,
so they'll be rubbing their hands together, thinking it was a real opportunity now. But then the break comes for them as well, even if they won, lose or draw this evening.
Yes.
They'll be thinking, we're top of the league. Like, we don't want this break, we want this to continue, but it could work the other way as well. Give City a chance to reset again, you know, come December and as we said, kick on again second half of the season.
It's a great point. Everyone is in the same boat. Quick words then on the World Cup. We spoke about it in the show before, but if you were to maybe earmark a winner, Liam, is there anyone that's jumping out and you're on the teams?
Tough, that, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm going to go Argentina.
Argentina?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, okay. Shay?
Well, I think Brazil. I don't know, just growing up as a kid, they were always the team, the Samba team with the yellow jerseys, the famous yellow jersey, and of course the players they have as well.
Team's incredible.
A great team, you know, and you know, it's been a while, to be fair, since Brazil won the World Cup, you know, so you imagine the pressure on their shoulders, you know, back in Brazil at the minute as well. But I think they got some top players, so I'm going to maybe tip them.
Okay, now Brazil. Paul, what about you?
I'm going to agree with Liam. I think Argentina. I just think there's something about it being Messi's last World Cup. He's not had his hands in that trophy yet. So.
Won the first international trophy as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I just think it's written in the stars for him. And I think they've went something like 28, 30 games unbeaten. So
they're in good form.
Squad, yeah.
I can't remember what it was. I think it was either FIFA or Football Manager. It's one of the two where they've simulated the tournament. And they, I think out of the last 5 World Cups, they've called 3 of the winners. And the simulation ended up with a World Cup final of Argentina, Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think it was Brazil that might have just come out on top. But that'd be a great World Cup.
You would take that to watch it, wouldn't you?
It's just been such a pleasure, gents. Before we get into some housekeeping, before we go, Liam, we've absolutely loved having you on and come back any time. But what's next for you? How's kind of the next, back end of the year and the next year looking?
Yeah, so I'm finished for the year now. So I've got I'm actually going to play a few little French club matches over the winter. I'm doing a pre-season training probably for 5 or 6 weeks. I'm going to be doing some high altitude training, which will be interesting.
Nice.
Get the lungs going. And then I start in Australia on the 2nd of January. So I'm going to go to Dubai for a warm winter training camp on the 10th till the 23rd, and then fly straight there.
Nice. Maybe if the Pep's over there, give him a little shout.
Yeah, there you go.
But listen, it has been an absolute. I mean, of course,
so
the club
much
are behind you, and I'm sure everyone in Manchester is as well. And wish
Cheers.
you all the luck. And
Appreciate
just a quick question on Max as well. So obviously with Brentford B team as well, was it kind of their games will be playing on, won't they?
Yeah, they are. They're playing all the way through. They've got a friendly Tuesday, I think, and then they've got Aston Villa and the Premier League 2 Cup on Friday. So
Nice.
I'll have a little journey down there to watch.
Lovely. Well, speaking of the reason I asked is because we have still got plenty of football that you can enjoy, including the World Cup, of course. I mean, we've got our under-18s in action against Stoke. We've got our under-17s in the Premier League Cup as well. They also play Stoke. We've got the Women's Continental Cup. They're playing Sunderland. That is on the November 27th. That's all going to be brought to you from us here at Manchester City. And then the big one, and we really want you to get involved with this, 11th of December. It's at the bottom of your screen right now. Derby Day at the Etihad in the WSL, and we really are going to try and absolutely smash the record that was set in 2019. I believe we might be on track to surpass it, but let's just play our bet safe and say we're not. So if you're around, I'm going to be there. We're all going to try and get down. Come join us for that derby for our women's team on the 11th of December, and there's tickets at mancity.com. Guys, an absolute pleasure as always. Paul Dickov, thank you. Shay Given, thank you. And of course, massive thank you to Liam Broady, and thank you to all of you for watching at home. So that is it. We will be back once the World Cup is over. Whoever you're following, whoever you need to support, we wish you all the best of luck, of course. And let's hope we enjoy some beautiful football. And I can't wait to be back with you when football returns. I'll be seeing you at that derby, but if not, I'll see you on the 28th of December. Until then, enjoy the weekend. And you know what we say, come on City.
I love the song, mate. It's got a lovely little beat to it.
Gota! Oh! Gota turn. Gota scored.
I think the thing that made Sean Gota a fan favourite was his commitment.
It's a good pullback. It must be an equaliser. It's Sean Gota.
This was the game when it all sort of came together.
Oh, lovely ball. Gota! Gota makes it 5.
Genuinely, he knew exactly where to be and when to be there. And that's just pure instinct.
Although Gota's got the ball here. Gota's run it back and he's scored. That's amazing.
And the best way I could describe it is if Sean went fishing, he wouldn't need a rod, the fish would jump in the net.
Gota. Benarbia. Oh, wonderful. Gota. Oh. Lovely ball through. Berkovic. Gota's in it.